Welcome into Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. We are live here on a Thursday, and happy to be here. Happy to talk Bears football with all you. Lots to discuss. Of course, Andrew Billings gets a contract extension. We'll dive into that and a whole lot more. So bear with us. Lots to get into. But first, shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from, and we will get some shout outs going. Another Josh saying, does Sweat even want to be here? Well, we'll find out. We will find out. We've got Iron Wolf in Germany. What's up, Iron Wolf? Wasim in Irvine, California. Montez, Sweatville, Illinois from LaCura. Another Josh in Clinton, Illinois. Greg in Madtown. We got Mike Riley in Lafayette, Indiana. Grand Forks, North Dakota is where Tim Everett is. We got Scott in Casa Grande, Arizona. Cam in Atlanta, Darren in Minneapolis, Jason in Scotia, New York, Julius in the ATL. We got Todd in Caliente, Titty Todd in Caliente, Torian Whitfield in Chicago, Clark Bar in Ohio, AB in Tuscaloosa, Peoria from Salwa. We got Apostle in Orlando. Let's see. I am from Chicago, but I stay in Cobden, Illinois. What's up, David? What's up, David? Devin in Iowa, Big Mike in Chicago, Nick Wheeler in Fort Wayne, Lucas in Kenosha, Z-Man in Texas, Ryder in Phoenix. We got Reaper in Memphis, Tennessee, Josh in Phoenix, Dylan in Wheeling, Illinois. We got Terry in Iowa. Bajent's arm sucks, be honest. The intermediate throws, he could throw some zip on them, but he's not launching a lot of 60-yarders, that's for sure. All right, who's excited to watch Montez Sweat? He practiced today. Looks like he's going to play this week. I'm excited to see what he can do. First game, so we'll see if he's on a snap count or something like that, but I'm fired up to see what he does. Mozzie says me. Wasim says me. Will, Z-Man. In there, we got Lucas, Clark Barr. He's going to kill it from D. That'd be nice. Be pretty dope if, opening drive, key third down, he sacks Derek Carr. That'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. Tom says me, EPC. Another Josh, Jao Ferreira. We got the homie Trav saying me. Montez Sweat didn't look like he wanted to be here. See, I disagree with that notion. He literally was asked, have you thought about signing a contract extension long term? And he was like, and his answer was, his first answer was, I haven't been involved in any discussions yet, but I'm sure my agent's already talking to him. And then he said, he literally, I'll just condense his answer. He said, I just got here. I don't even know where I'm going to lay my head tonight. Let's let the guy move to a new location before we declare what his intentions are. So I think it's a little premature to say that. Rob says me, Bear Down says me, but at the same time, it's up to the Bears to sell him on this place, right? And pay up. I mean, that's the bottom line. If he gets a contract worthy of signing, he's going to sign it. I don't think there's any question there. Lucas says if the Bears lose out before the bye, is Flus gone? So we have that list 10, Rolly. How many games do they have before the bye week? They've got, obviously they have the Saints this week, Panthers on Thursday Night Football, at Detroit, at Minnesota. 0-4 there, they'd be 2-10. I think it's possible. Now, while I think it's unlikely, what if they lose their next two? And then you've got a mini bye. You're off a week and a half. Remember, that was the chatter going into Thursday night in week 5 when they were sitting at 0-4. It was, they lose in Washington, fall to 0-5, 15 straight losses. Would they fire Flus? They obviously won that game. But if you lose in New Orleans and then lose at home to Carolina in front of a national audience, would that be enough to fire Flus? I don't know. They're already down 2 assistant coaches, so somebody's got to coach this team the rest of the year, but it's not great.
Bears Now is going to coach the Bears the rest of the
Harry
season.
and Rolly couldn't do worse, right?
We would get this team winning a game. I'm telling you right now, I would get this team a win.
Listen, We wouldn't have lost 14 straight. I promise you that.
I think I would have beat. I think I'd be able to go into Arrowhead and beat them.
Shut up.
Give me week 3.
Let's run it back.
Let me coach. Let me go back and coach that team right now. I would give one hell of a pregame speech.
You'd be like, it'd be like Braveheart.
Dude, we'd be running out in the field and we'd be ready to like break knees, like ready to go. We'd be fired up.
Rolly, no stones unturned with Coach Rolly. That's facts.
People forget that I took the club St. Bonaventure basketball team to their first ever regional tournament in my second year as coach.
People do forget.
First year was a build
It's a
year.
shame.
First year was a building year. We laid the groundwork. Second year, we took them to the promised land.
Beautiful, beautiful. What's also beautiful, Prize Picks, best daily fantasy sports app out there. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season is in full swing, and I've had a blast winning up to 25 times my money on several entries with Prize Picks. And now I'm doing the same with my basketball picks. Yes, the NBA is underway, and it's time for you to cash in with basketball entries as well. All you got to do is select 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their Prize Picks projected stats, and place your entry. It takes less than a minute. Check it out right now, prizepicks.com/CLNS, and use code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100. My picks this week for the Bears-Saints game, and again, you can cross over different games, different sports, but just to easily digest it for you guys. I'm taking less than 56.5 receiving yards for DJ Moore. I think it should be a focus to get him more involved, but until they do it with Tyson Bagent, he's been averaging about 53 yards a game with him in there, so I'll take the less there. Cole Kmet giving me more than 34.5 receiving yards for him, and then Alvin Kamara more than 36.5 receiving yards. A, he's a lethal weapon out of the backfield catching the football, and B, the Bears just got absolutely punked in the passing game with Austin Eckler at running back, and Kamara is a better pass-catching back than Eckler. So 10 to win 50, 20 to win 100, and remember, you can win up to 25 times your money. And by the way, join rapper Meek Mill, comedian, several comedians, and several other Prize Picks players as well, and place your entries today, whether it's NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, or any other sport. Prize Picks is the best way to play daily fantasy sports. Get started right now with Prize Picks. All right, Daily Basis says, with Sweat on the team, what's the best front 4 lineup? Maybe Yannick, Billings, Dexter, and Sweat, or maybe Walker kicks inside to 3-tech. Either way, FGB. I do want to see more DeMarcus Walker at 3-tech. He had 7 sacks for the Titans last year, and I can't remember the exact number, but over half of those was at the 3-tech position, while Justin Jones has played a little better recently, and Dexter's flashed at times, although not the last couple of weeks. I think Walker, especially on passing down, should kick inside, and I think those 4 gives you the best pass rushing lineup on that defensive front. You chiming in here?
I'm just here.
I thought you were like, yeah, I agree.
Well, I was going to say, I'm very intrigued to see how Yannick Ngakoue plays now that he has a competent edge rusher on the other side of the O-line. It'll open up things for him.
And if I'm Yannick Ngakoue, I'm like licking my chops here because he waited all offseason, wanted a multi-year deal, didn't get it, hasn't played that great this year. So, like, it's go time, man. Like, if you want to get re-signed by the Bears or get a decent contract next year, like, you really need to perform over these next couple of months if you're Yannick Ngakoue. So, hey, maybe Sweat getting in the fold gives him an opportunity to get some better matchups than he has up to this point. Kendall Barnett with the first-time super chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Appreciate that, Kendall. All first-time super chats get 5 jumping jacks from yours truly. Appreciate that. We've got Secret Bagent Man's Burner. How much of a factor will Montez Sweat be this Sunday against the Saints? I mean, what do you think's realistic, Rolly? Like, I would think he's close to full throttle. Like, look, I will say this. It's going to be an adjustment from him regardless because it's a new team, new system, etc. But he's also playing with less caliber talent on that defensive line than he was in Washington. So
yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I expect 3 sacks on Sunday or something. I expect him to be really impactful against the run. He's the highest graded run edge defender since 2020. He's elite at that. And then I expect some pressures. Do I expect him to necessarily get a sack in his first game? No. Could he? Of course. But I'll say this, Rolly. I think this is the best way I can measure it. I expect to say his name more than once during our watch party.
Yeah, I bet he makes a nice little TFL at one point and causes, I'll say, bold. Saints don't have the best O-line. He'll have 2 pressures at bare minimum, and he will have at least a TFL.
I'd be happy with that. Who you guys got in this game? Bears or Saints? Let us know. CHI for the Bears, NO for the Saints. It is our live poll question. 63% going Bears.
Never ceases to amaze me, the confidence of Bears Nation.
Well, I will say this. The Saints are 4-4. It's not like they've been awesome. Their offense did get kind of unleashed last week. We'll see if that continues for New Orleans. But, yeah, I mean, look, I'll have my score prediction here in a little bit, but it's hard to be super confident, right? Like, the best team the Bears have beaten this year is Washington, and they just sold at the deadline. So it's not like the Bears have, knocked down any world beaters. I mean, beating the Saints on the road would be a nice accomplishment for this team, but
Dude.
Don't have major expectations. You good over there?
No, I'm trying to. You said it's not like the Bears have beat world beaters. I cannot. Like, I'm literally having the biggest mental block. I don't know who the Bears won as their second game.
Raiders.
That's right.
Think about this. So they
could not think of the
beat the
Raiders.
Commanders, who just sold at the deadline, and the Raiders, who just fired their coach. Which, by the way, Bears, if you don't think Matt Eberflus is the guy, you can fire him mid-season. It is allowed. So, just throwing that out there. Not saying you should or should not, but it is allowed. It's something the Bears have never done in their franchise's history. Pretty split in the chat, but 61%.
A lot of the poll
Bears.
is Bears. A lot of the comments are New Orleans.
So they're scared to the Bears picks are scared to put their name next to it. Hey, fair enough. What do you guys think of the Andrew Billings extension? Grade it. A, B, C, D, or F. Billings gets a 2-year, $8.5 million extension with $6 million guaranteed. Look, I know a lot of the chatter is like, you have time to get Andrew Billings extended, but you can't figure out Jaylon Johnson or Montez Sweat. I think you're talking about, obviously, completely different price ranges, obviously, right? I actually like this deal, Rolly. I mean, I don't think it's a fluke that the Bears have gone from the 31st ranked rush defense last year to 3rd this year. I think Billings has played a key role in that. Obviously, T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds and Jack Sanborn at linebacker have been really good in that area as well. But Billings is a run stuffer, and while he doesn't have a sack, he's been credited with 14 pressures too. Not something he's known for. He's added that to his arsenal. So I think it's a pretty good deal. Keep him locked down, and at worst, he's a depth piece, if not potentially a starter next year as you're still trying to retool that defensive line. What do you guys think? Grainier Bros, C+, A- from Mike, A- from Salwa. Reaper says B+. We got Grant from Sam B. B+ from Fear the Squid. Scott says A. Jason says B. Tom A+. Another Josh says B. I like the deal. I think it's a good deal. I'd give it a solid B+, A-. NFL Mastermind, if the Bears get picks 2 and 3, do you think Poles has to talk himself into a QB or out of a QB if Field shows flashes but never shows if he is it? I think it's got to be more than flashes for Fields at this point. Number one, he's got to get back. I mean, he's out again this week. So at most, he's got 8 games to work with. Let's say he plays all 8 of those. I'd say probably 6 of those need to be good performances to create a conversation in Ryan Poles' mind. If he has 4 good, 4 not good, I mean, I think Poles is just going to sit there and be like, man, I really like the good, but it's just not consistent enough. So I think Fields has got to put together several good performances before the season is over for the Bears to keep him, if they do have a top 2 pick. Now, if they back into some wins and they're picking at like 4 and 7,
they will be having a top 2 pick.
Yeah, Rolly's convinced the Panthers pick will be in the top 2.
There's no way the Panthers are not a bottom 2 team in the NFL.
They're bad.
There's just no way.
They already won a game they shouldn't have, so.
And it was against the Texans, who were horrific too.
I mean, they got the Bears next week. I guess it's not. If you lose the Saints, it probably doesn't matter because if you lose the Panthers, both teams have 2 wins. But
the Bears-Panthers game will legitimately be the most meaningless football game maybe of all time. No, being dead serious. They're both bad. They're both will not be playing in the playoffs.
It's meaningful for the draft, though.
But it's not, because the same team owns each pick.
Yeah, but you could make an argument. It still could make a difference.
I actually don't think this game means anything at all.
Do you think best case would be a tie?
No, that'd be the worst. It'd be complications across the board.
Well, in some ways, it would simplify things because then you're not having to deal with as many tiebreakers.
You want one team to lose. It doesn't matter. Bears fans will go into that game being dead serious. Like, they're obviously going to want the Bears to win.
It might be the most fun watch party we have all year.
Well, because think about it. They definitely want the Bears to win because obviously Bears win and Panthers loss, and it's still good things. But if the Bears lose, it's not like that changes that much anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Now, I'll say this. If the Bears beat the Saints this week and are 3-6, it's a little bit different story.
You're playing to win.
Because
then you could get to
Panthers
4-6.
Are going to be 1-6 probably, or 1-7, or whatever they'll be.
And look, let's be honest. If you're the Bears and you beat the Saints this week, that 7 seed in the NFC is going to be up for grabs. I'm not saying the Bears have a good shot at it, but you're not completely out of it if you win this week because you should beat the Panthers, which, by the way, if you win this week, that Matt Eberflus has still not won 2 games in a row as head coach. If he can't beat Carolina at that point, then just fire him.
You should have Fields back for that game, too.
But think about, so these teams are locks to make the playoffs. Philadelphia and Dallas in the East, they're both making it.
Yeah.
Detroit's making it.
Yep.
As much as it pains us. I think Seattle's a lock at this point.
Yeah, they are.
I think the Niners, I know they've lost 3 in a row.
They're a lock.
They're in, so that's 5. NFC South winner is 6, whether it's Atlanta, Tampa Bay, or New Orleans.
It will be Atlanta.
And then the 7th seed is a combination of who doesn't win the NFC South, so Saints or Falcons, Bucks, Vikings who just lost Kirk Cousins,
they're probably
Rams,
cooks.
Commanders just sold. I mean, so my point is if you do find a way to win this week and you beat Carolina at 4-6, you're probably only like a game back at that point because the 7th seed in 2 weeks is probably going to be 5-5. Because right now, the 7th seed is 4-4.
Yeah.
So
don't hate it.
Look, I'm not advocating that this team's going to make a playoff push. What I am advocating for is whoever the 7th seed is not going to be a good football team.
They're going to get smoked.
That 2-7 game, who would it be right now? Although I'll say this, if it's Detroit, they haven't won a playoff game in over 30 years.
Dude, that stadium.
The pressure at Ford Field.
I don't think it would be pressure.
Oh, it would be pressure.
None of these players have been a part of this organization for that long.
I know.
That place would be a zoo, though.
Yeah. Give me Bears Lions 2-7 game in 2.5 months. Stop it. We're not beating. Well, yeah. You're probably not beating the Saints, so it's a moot point. I'm saying if they beat the Saints, you could get to 4-6.
If things are crazier, the shitty Patriots somehow beat the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, it's not like the Saints are killing people. Let's be honest. All right, like the video. We got to get to 150 likes. We got 430 people watching. Once we get to 150 likes, we'll dive into our first segment here. So hit the like button. Hit the like button. Jailbreak goes, he's a lefty. I wouldn't draft Michael Penix. Do you buy into the I don't want lefties being my quarterbacks?
Yes.
You do? You're all in on that?
I know Tua is good, but there's something about it. Because it changes
the spin
your
is
formations.
Different.
It changes how you prioritize your offensive line.
Yeah,
it does change things. As weird as it sounds, it does actually change things.
Hit that like button.
See, Scythe Gaming saying Tua, Steve Young, but that's the thing. You can count the amount of elite left-handed quarterbacks.
I mean, Michael Vick's one of the best
hand.
lefties of all time, and he was a runner first.
Dude, you can legit count elite left-handed quarterbacks on your hand. It's just a rarity. And I think teams, I wouldn't
Tim Tebow.
I don't know if teams try to stay away from lefties more than righties, but it's just like.
Well, there's also just not that many of them.
Because I think they're taught at the young age that we want you to be right-handed.
Are there any in the Penix? But I guess he's the only one. Yeah. Tua was the last lefty drafted high, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Can't think of one. Tebow 10 years ago, 12 years ago. He's horrific.
What a win against
that
the
old
Steelers,
clip
though.
at practice when they tried to fix his throwing motion
And it
when the
ducked.
ball just goes like 5 feet and it's end over end.
That throw to Demaryius Thomas, though, man. Unbelievable moment.
No one's thrown a better 10-yard slant than that one.
I
Incredible.
just remember they win that game and they come into Foxborough the next week.
Oh my God,
and
they
people
got
are like,
murdered.
could Tebow get the
Tebow?
job done?
Oh, well, by people, your boy Skip Bayless.
Yeah. People are like, could Tebow get it done? And then the Patriots beat him like 50-20.
Here's what's coming up live on Chicago Bears Now. We react to Andrew Billings' contract extension. Plus, we will take a look at today's injury report. Contract projections for Jaylon Johnson and Montez Sweat. Brad Spielberger put some projections out. I want to react to that, give my thoughts on that. We'll take your questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. And then it is mock draft 4.0 time following the NFL trade deadline, following the acquisition of Montez Sweat. Trades are in that mock. It's going to get juicy. Let's dive into it all here on Chicago Bears Now. The Chicago Bears have extended defensive tackle Andrew Billings on a 2-year deal worth $8.5 million, $6 million guaranteed. We're going to break it all down here on today's episode of Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. So Ryan Poles does extend a defensive lineman, but it is not Montez Sweat. It's Andrew Billings. Here's what Poles had to say in a statement after getting this deal done. He said, "We're extremely excited to be able to keep Andrew in Chicago. His professionalism, dependability, toughness he brings exhibits the type of player we want in our organization." Billings had this to say, "It feels good that somebody appreciates you and that you're doing a good enough job that they want you around a little longer. I see a future here, not only for myself, but for the team." And look, we can talk about Jaylon Johnson and Montez Sweat all day long, and we're going to do that here on this channel. Obviously, those are two players the Bears got to keep, but I like this move. Andrew Billings has been rock solid for this defense. I don't think it's a fluke whatsoever that this run defense has vastly improved with Andrew Billings on this defensive line. You look at his PFF grades here, and it is kind of interesting that his pass rush grade has been viewed higher than his run defense grade, but I see his run defense having a huge impact when I watch him play, and I think the pass rush grade is actually legitimate. Even though he doesn't have a sack this year, he has 14 pressures. That is not a part of his game, at least before this year it wasn't. Matt Eberflus in this conditioning staff wanted Billings to shed a little bit of weight before training camp. He did that, and I think it's given him a little extra quickness after the snap of the football, and he's been able to get into the backfield some, so that's been nice to see as well. Before the addition of Montez Sweat, and obviously we haven't seen him play here yet, but Andrew Billings has been your best defensive lineman this year. I would take that to the bank all day. Yannick Ngakoue is a more accomplished player. DeMarcus Walker has a higher ceiling, but Andrew Billings has been your most consistent player on this defensive line. And again, I don't think you can downplay his impact on the run defense. You're only giving up 78.8 rushing yards per game, which is good for third in the NFL. Last year, the Bears were 31st in the NFL, and I want to say it was at about 160 yards per game allowed. They've more than doubled their improvement there. Now, pass defense has a long way to go, and some teams are just saying, well, they're pretty good against the run, so we're just going to keep throwing. So those numbers might be inflated a bit, but it's a legit top 10 rushing defense. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they shoot the gaps at linebacker. Andrew Billings is taking on double teams sometimes. So it's been fun to watch. That's the one area on this football team that's been consistent, and I think Andrew Billings has been an anchor and a big reason for why that has been the case. So grade the Andrew Billings contract extension. Type A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Grade the Billings extension of 2 years, $8.5 million with $6 million guaranteed. I personally would give it a B+, A-. I think it's a pretty good deal for both sides. We got a subscriber battle going on this week between our Bears Now YouTube channel and our Saints Now YouTube channel, because the Bears, of course, take on the Saints here this week. We've picked up 132 new subscribers. Saints Now has picked up 106 new subscribers. So tight race here with myself and Trizzy Trace, who runs our Saints channel. You guys have seen him before, so let's win that competition. Hit the subscribe button here on Chicago Bears Now. We publish daily videos, including the latest news, rumors. We had NFL trade deadline coverage all day long. We'll continue to bring you videos on a daily basis here on this channel. Okay, you look at the Bears injury report here for Thursday. A couple new additions here. Justin Fields is still a DNP. He's already been ruled out this week. I don't expect Nate Davis to play this week with that ankle injury. Larry Borum listed as personal, so not going to speculate what's going on there, but what I will say is, looking ahead, if for some reason he can't go, Braxton Jones, who's still on IR and was limited with that neck as you look at this injury report, I don't know who would play left tackle if Braxton Jones isn't activated. So hopefully it's just one of those personal days where he had a family situation. He's back at it tomorrow, but definitely keep an eye on the Friday injury report. Mercedes Lewis had his rest day. Tremaine Edmonds, he's not going to play, I don't think, this week dealing with that knee injury. Jaquan Brisker still in the concussion protocol. I don't expect him to play. Terrell Smith still has mono. Don't expect him to play. I do expect Eddie Jackson to play. He's practiced in full the last couple of days. Lucas Patrick has as well. So both those guys should be good to go. A lot of guys banged up, but if Jaquan Brisker's not going to go, you at least need Eddie Jackson out there. Otherwise, you're playing two backup safeties just like you did last week against the Chargers. And look, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, if you win this game, you're going to be a playoff team. But if there's any hope at all, you've got to win this game against New Orleans. And look, at some point, you want to win some games, right? Like, I know we're looking ahead to the draft and this and that, but you've got that Carolina pick, so I still think you're in a mode where you want to try to win football games. And the Saints at 4-4, they've been up, they've been down. I think it's at least somewhat of a winnable opportunity on the road this week. Okay, some storylines for this matchup. Tyson Bagent, of course, making his third start with Justin Fields, still sidelined with that dislocated thumb. And been a mixed bag for Bagent. I mean, for an undrafted rookie, I think when you watch the kid play, you can tell there's something there. Now, the accuracy's been good. Obviously, it's been a lot of underneath, dink and dunk stuff. Not huge volume, 477 yards and 2 starts and about a quarter and a half against Minnesota. 1 touchdown to 3 picks. Had 2 last week. That's got to get cleaned up, obviously. He's got to play mostly turnover-free for this team to have a chance to win. Does have a couple of rushing touchdowns on the tush-push play. But obviously Tyson Bagent needs to play better than he did last week if the Bears are going to go into New Orleans and win this game on Sunday. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app on the planet. Football season is in full swing, and I've had a blast winning up to 25 times my money on several entries with Prize Pick, which you can win up to 25 times your money with the 6-player entry. And now I'm starting to do the same with my basketball picks as well. The NBA is underway, and it's time for you to cash in. You just select 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. It takes less than a minute. Check it out right now, prizepicks.com/CLNS, and use code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100. For my Prize Pick entry this weekend, I've got DJ Moore, less than 56.5 receiving yards. I got Cole Kmet more than 34.5 receiving yards. I also took the more on Alvin Kamara, more than 36.5 receiving yards. Again, up to 25 times your money on any given entry. With this being a 3-player entry, I can win up to 5 times my money. $10 to win 50, 20 to win 100. Feel good about this one. Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. What a deal for football and basketball games. If you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Go check them out today. Code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Get you a deposit match up to $100. Okay, Montez Sweat's debut, right? I mean, that's got to be something to watch for in this one. By all accounts, sounds like he is going to play for the Chicago Bears. He practiced on Thursday. He was out on the practice field. And Rolly and I talked about this during the trade deadline. There's one position where you just come in, it's like, yeah, I can play in a hurry. It's edge rusher. I mean, you set the edge in the run game and you get after the passer in the passing game. Obviously, there's different stunts, there's different calls, there's probably occasional calls where defensive ends drop back into the flat, etc. But he said he believes he'll be ready to play in this one. Matt Eberflus didn't sound like someone that wasn't going to play Montez Sweat. Hell, Chase Claypool played last year, and the Bears' offense is more complex to pick up than just being a pass rusher is. So I could be out there. Could he be on some sort of a pitch count due to still learning things? Sure, but if I'm the Bears, my pass rush stinks. I'm getting Montez Sweat on the field as soon as possible. Okay, number 3, get DJ Moore more balls. Phrasing. Yep. You know what? More targets. Rolly laughing in my ear. We're having fun here, all right? Get DJ Moore footballs. That is a recipe for success. I've found this interesting. So in that game in Washington in which this team scored 40 points against Montez Sweat and the Commanders, DJ Moore, 8 for 230 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, look, I don't expect that every week, but the last 3 games combined, he has 17 catches for 160 yards and 0 touchdowns. He has over 50 yards in all 3 games, so it's not like he's just been like a non-factor, but we haven't seen that big explosive game like 90 yards at a touchdown, 100 yards at a touchdown, something like that. Like, I just think you have to force feed him a little bit, and hopefully in practice that's been a talking point with Tyson Bagent, like, hey, we're going to get him more targets this week. So hopefully that happens. I got to see it to believe it, but he's too good of a weapon to go 3 games without cracking 60 yards. I mean, we've seen him ball out this year. Eddie Jackson returning. I put question mark. Obviously, it's not official, but he's practicing full the last couple of days, and you need him out there. You just do. This defense is reeling in parts in the secondary. Brisker doesn't look like he's going to be able to go. Tremaine Edmonds doesn't look like he's going to be able to go. So getting Eddie Jackson back, who hasn't played in a while, will be very, very important for this Bears defense. All right, there you go. Predict the score. Bears, Saints on Sunday. Who do you guys have winning, and what do you guys think the final score will be? Let me know in the comments. I unfortunately am going to take the Saints 24-20. I think the Bears will play better than they did last week against the Chargers, but you're also not playing as good of a team, so that could be part of it as well. I know the Saints have a better record than the Chargers, but the Chargers are more talented. Give me the Saints 24-20. I think it'll be a competitive football game, but I still think the Bears need to learn how to win, so I'm not going to pick them to beat at least a decent team on the road until they can show they can do it. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe. We'll be live for a Bears-Saints watch party on Sunday, so you're not going to want to miss out on any of that. And, of course, we'll have more videos leading up to kickoff over the next couple of days, so hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. All right, predict the score. Excuse me. Predict the score. 24-6 Saints. That would be a tough watch. Rolly, if they lose 24-6 Sunday, you want to talk about this watch party getting boring? That'd be tough.
Yeah, that would be brutal.
That would be like a couple of Nick Foles starts when they benched Trubisky for him a few years ago, where they just had some ugly showings. 23-20 Saints. Dylan says 28-17 Saints. Trivia. When was the last year the Bears won in the Superdome in New Orleans?
2008.
Okay. Anybody else? I want to see what you guys think. Last year, when's the last season, last year, whatever, the Bears have won in New Orleans? I'm going to let a few come in. Dave says 28-24 New Orleans, 32-3 New Orleans. That would be just tough. 24-20 Bears from Tim. All right, a few have come in. I'll say this. Someone has gotten it right in the chat.
So Rolly was not right.
Yeah, that is correct. You are not right. Someone has got it correct. And that person is Donald Lear, 1991.
Well, that's what I said.
1991. At least regular season. I'd have to double-check playoffs, but off the top of my head, I don't. Let me see. Bears versus Saints head-to-head. Make sure I'm not missing one. Oh, in fact, yeah, the Saints have won 5 in a row. The last time the Bears won, was 1991. That's it. I'm looking at this correctly.
I'm going to sprint
in
to
New
the bathroom
Orleans.
real quick.
In New Orleans, by the way. Last time they won in New Orleans. All right. Get those score predictions in. Rolly's got to sprint to the restroom real quick. NFC title game, good point. Regular season. Regular season, 1991 in the Superdome. Get y'all score predictions in. Bears Saints. Bears Saints. Those score predictions in. I will say in 2020, Nick Foles almost won that game in the Superdome. They lost 23-20 in overtime. Or 26-23. 23-20, 23. I think it was 26-23. I think it was 23-13 at Saints. Bears scored 10 points to force overtime, and then the Saints kicked a field goal, if I'm remembering correctly. 35-14 Saints from Kevin. Donald says 28-24 Saints. Christian says, no, that was at Soldier Field. Yeah, exactly. But I didn't even think about where that was because I eliminated it from my head anyway because it was a playoff game. Tito with the 5. We'll get Tito's super chat on screen once Rolly is back. When a man's got to go, man's got to go. Man's got to go. Hit the like button. Let's get to 200 likes. 18-3 Saints. That'd be a boring game, Aaron. That doesn't sound fun. Who could be our OC if Luke Getsy gets fired with Flus? So, like, Flus stays but Getsy goes? I'd have to look at some names. Not sure off the top of my head. I don't see a scenario where only Getsy goes. At least not right now. I think it's all or nothing. Unless the rest of the year the defense like balls out consistently and the offense is horrible. Like that's the only scenario. But even though the defense has probably been better than the offense recently, it's not like it's been lights out. I mean, we saw last week. The Chargers score on their first 5 possessions. So, that's just how it goes. Kevin, 35-14. Kamara demolishes us. Yeah, that would not be fun. Just be competitive. Get into the fourth quarter with a chance. That's the thing with some of these games. Like, when you're a rebuilding team like the Bears, sometimes you're going to lose games, but there's just too many games where you're non-competitive. Like, week 1 against a bad Packers team, not competitive. Week 2 against the Bucs. I know that was a 3-point game late, but you weren't that competitive. Chiefs in week 3. I get it. They have way more talent than you. Game was over before kickoff, right? Like, there's just too many of those. Chargers game last week. Game was over very early. Very early. You got to get into these second halves of games with the chance to win. Too often you're getting to the locker room at halftime or at the end of the third quarter and you're like, well, there's no chance. That can't happen. If Bayless plays, Bears lose. I was thinking about this earlier. Could the Bears make Bayless inactive this week? I wouldn't be shocked. He's not giving you much. He's not giving you anything on offense. Put Tyler Scott at kick return, right? You don't need Bayless. You must be related to Eberflus. Talking about me or someone in the chat, Peggy? Me or someone in the chat? 17-3 Saints. Bajent throws 2 picks. If the Bears hold the Saints to 17 and lose, then yeah, that means the offense is terrible. Bro, Bayless stinks. Yeah, he stinks. Oh, man. All right. We'll hit that super chat, and then we'll jump into our next segment. Rolly's back. Oh, no. Explosive. Tito, love the sweat pickup. Great all-around player. Got to sign Jaylon Johnson, though. Not going to find a corner like him in the draft. He's too important to the D getting better. I agree. I mean, you never know what the draft is going to be, but that's kind of the whole point. You don't know. You know what Jaylon Johnson is. So I'm paying him. I'm paying Sweat. And then you'll still have a good amount of money for free agency and the draft. So that's what I would do, and we'll see if the Bears do it. All right, we'll get to your mailbag questions here in about 15 minutes, so use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. Coming up next, though, Brad Spielberger of Pro Football Focus took a deep dive into what contract projections could look like for both Montez Sweat and Jaylon Johnson, some hot topics around the Bears right now. So I'm going to react to that, give my thoughts as well. So stay tuned. We continue here on Chicago Bears Now. On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, we talk contract projections. That is what Pro Football Focus's Brad Spielberger experts in. He knows the cap better than anybody else, and he took a deep dive into both Jaylon Johnson and Montez Sweat and what contract projections could look like. And usually he's pretty accurate with this stuff. So we react, we analyze here on Chicago Bears Now. But before we do that, I just want to gauge the audience. Who is the better overall football player? And I'm not saying who's ranked higher at his position, this and that, who's got a higher ceiling. I'm saying who is a better pure football player in your opinion? If you think Jaylon Johnson's a better player, type JJ. If you think it's Montez Sweat, type MS. Let me know in the comments, Jaylon Johnson, Montez Sweat. And again, I want to pay both, and I assume some of you guys do too. But I'm just curious who you guys think is the better football player, Johnson or Sweat. We're going to start this video with Jaylon Johnson since he's been with the Bears a while, and it's been a hot topic, obviously, with the trade request, him talking to the media and everything. Here was PFF's contract projection for him, and I'll be honest, I was a little surprised. 5-year deal, $95 million, $19 million per year, $47.5 guaranteed, which is just half of the total, right? So it's kind of like a 2.5 plus 2.5 type of structure, I would imagine, that Spielberger cooked up here. And my instant reaction is, look, $19 million feels a little high to me per year, I'll be honest. But maybe the compromise there is only going 50% on the guarantees. That could be a fair compromise. We're like, hey, Jaylon, we're going to give you almost $50 million in guarantees money, but at the same time, we're going to have you slotted in at that $19 million per year. And if you're playing well and you're balling out, we'll keep you throughout that contract, and you can earn more than $47.5 million. And that could be a fair compromise, especially given the fact that Jaylon Johnson does have a minor injury history. Not major injury history, minor injury history, as he has missed some time throughout his NFL career. So I like Jaylon Johnson. I want him to be here, but he has missed 13 games over 4 seasons. That being said, I think that he's certainly worth paying in the way he's played this year in particular, but at times throughout his career, he has shown he can be a CB1 in this league. I do want to dive into a lot of the specifics that Brad is diving into here because he's so good at breaking this stuff down. He said the most recent quarterback contract that wasn't quite top of market, just a stop below, was Cowboys corner Trayvon Diggs, signing a 5-year, $97 million deal, $19.4 million per year. The Chicago Bears may view Johnson as belonging more in the range of Tampa Bay Buccaneers cornerback Carlton Davis. He got a 3-year, $44.5 million extension, average of $14.83 million per year, with $30 million in total guarantees. And that makes me think that maybe that is how they view him, more in that $14, $15, $16 million per year. Maybe Jaylon Johnson's camp wants more like $18 million, $19 million per year in the Diggs range. And look, if that's the case, that's a $4 or $5 million per year gap. That's a pretty significant gap, and that's what Jaylon Johnson's probably talking about when he's like, yeah, it's a wide gap between where we're at and where the Bears are at. So I think he's worthy of more than Carlton Davis. I don't think he should get Trayvon Diggs money. I think he's a better cover guy than Diggs, but Diggs gets so many interceptions that you value that as well. And Johnson even acknowledged that earlier this offseason, like, hey, like, I probably am not going to get Diggs money because of the amount of interceptions he gets. So we'll see where it goes, but I will say this. I think he's closer to Diggs in caliber of player than he is Carlton Davis. So I do want to get that out there. More thoughts on this in a moment. Then we'll get to Montez Sweat as well. But first, today's show sponsored by Game time buying tickets, guys, to a sporting event, comedy show, concert, or anything else, it shouldn't be frustrating. It should be easy and painless, and with Game Time, it is. Game Time's goal is for you to have a peace of mind with your purchase and to help you save as much money as possible when buying your tickets. Whether you're going to a Bears game, an awesome concert, or any other event, Game Time wants you to have the best experience possible. That's why they want you, or they have those flash deals and sales at times, and they show you exactly the vantage point of where you're going to be sitting with their tickets, which a lot of these apps do not do that. I'm a big fan of Game Time because of that. And when we went to the national championship game to watch TCU in Georgia, yeah, my Frogs got spanked, but we knew exactly where our seats were. We bought them the day of, no stress, no problem. Couple hours before kickoff, we got these tickets via Game Time, and they came right to us, and we had a hell of a time, even if the game wasn't that awesome. And we plugged in our promo code, BearsChat, to get $20 off our first order, and you guys can as well. So here's what you do. Download the Game Time app right now, create an account, and use that promo code BearsChat to get $20 off your first purchase. That is code BearsChat after you download the Game Time app in your app store. Create that account, use the promo code, get $20 off. Last-minute tickets for the lowest price guaranteed with Game Time. More from Brad Spielberger on Jaylon Johnson. Last but certainly not least, he says Johnson has not benefited at all over the past 2 seasons from the defensive line in front of him. Great point. It's the exact opposite, as the Bears are generating pressure less often than any other team over that span. While we're not at all sure Chicago would agree to the below, talking about the projection they put out, here's what we think Jaylon Johnson would like to end up with. Players are often care about the total value or average per year and how that stacks up across the position. And I think that last point is important. Jaylon Johnson, the second to last time we heard from him, after he had that great game against the Raiders, he was asked, what are you looking for? And he said respect. And I think when he says that, he means I want to be slotted in with some of the best. Not necessarily the best, not top 5. He told us at his presser the other day, I'm not looking to reset the market, but I think he wants to be probably close to Trayvon Diggs, at least above a guy like a J.C. Jackson. So I can see where the gap is, and I actually like this from Spielberger, like, hey, we'll slot you at $19 million per year, but half the total money is going to be guaranteed. So, yeah, we're going to give you a big chunk of the pie. We're going to slot you as the 6th, 7th highest paid corner in the NFL, but you're going to have to earn the second half of that contract because you do have minor injury concerns and have missed some time in your career. I think that could be a win-win for both sides. Hopefully a deal like that can happen for Jaylon Johnson in Chicago. Fill in the blank for us. Jaylon Johnson should get blank million per year. What do you guys think? 14, 16, 18, 20? What do you guys think Jaylon Johnson should get? Not what you think he will get or what the Bears are offering. What do you guys think he should get? Like, what would you throw at him if you were running the Bears? Let me know in the comments section. What I believe he will get is 16 to 19 million. Like, I think if he hits the open market, him and L'Jarius Sneed, it's going to create a wage war for teams looking to add a corner. And I think he'll get 16 plus. I really do. And that's why when I did my contract projection, as you look at his stats this year, which have been very, very good, I did 3 for 48, 16 per year with 30 million guaranteed. If I have to get to 18 to get that done, 3 for 54, 35 guaranteed, I'd do that as well. Now, again, Spielberger's going 5-year deal with less percentage guarantee, but more overall dollars. And again, if you're a player, like to me, I just want the most guaranteed possible, regardless of what the percentage of the guarantees are. So we'll see what Jaylon Johnson and the Bears can come up with. Clearly, they're far apart right now, but hopefully that changes. And I still have hope that he can be with this football team. Hit the subscribe button. When the Bears make moves, we make videos, just like we did when they traded for Montez Sweat, when they extended Andrew Billings. We do it all here on this channel, so hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out when the Bears make moves. All right, let's go to Montez Sweat now. Here's the contract projection from PFF. 4 years, $100 million, $25 million per year, $70 million guaranteed. You look at the highest paid edge rushers on a per-year basis right now. This would slot him in right above Rashawn Gary, who just got paid by the Green Bay Packers. And you're probably sitting there saying, Myles Garrett? He's not Myles Garrett. Well, if Myles Garrett was a free agent tomorrow, he'd probably top Nick Bosa, $35 million. It's all about when you hit the open market, right? The market always gets reset when top-tier players hit it. Now, Montez Sweat isn't top tier, which is why he wouldn't get $35 million, but he's in that tier 2, and that's where Rashawn Gary is, and that's why he got 4 for 96 with incentives up to 100 plus. And I think that's probably about the range where Montez Sweat and his camp would want to come into play in terms of the pecking order here among the highest paid edge. Brad Spielberger once again here says, we discussed the Rashawn Gary deal and the impact on the position market, but Sweat falls into a different mold of pass rusher, more of a DeMarcus Lawrence type, who is elite against the run and can win with speed to power as a pass rusher, but he is not the bendy, hyper-explosive pass rusher that Gary is. The top of the market goes to players who possess both abilities, and then the 2 buckets of players with more specific skill sets filter down from there. And now, even though he's a different skill set type of player to Rashawn Gary, I think he's in the same bucket, the same tier of where he's saying, yeah, Rashawn Gary's pressure win rate is higher than Montez Sweat's, but he's not the run stopper that Montez Sweat is, who he's literally been the best run stopping edge per PFF for 3 years now. So they're in that same tier. Tier 2, we'll call it here, which is why I think a recent player getting a deal of 4 for 96, that's probably the type of range you're looking at for Montez Sweat, which is why Spielberger went 4 for 100, because next guy up usually wants to top the last guy who got paid. Brad again here says, that is not to say Sweat can't rush the passer. Exactly, he can. Far from it. Since 2022, Sweat's 89 pressures rank 11th among edge defenders. His 13.6% pressure rate ranks 25th with at least 250 pass rush snaps, and his 14.5 sacks ranked tied for 13th. Then again, I do just want to triple, quadruple down. His PFF run defensive grade, 90.5. Best in the NFL among edge rushers. So sure, is Montez Sweat going to win as a pass rusher 20 to 25% of the time? No, but it's probably going to be 12 to 15%. He is going to be dominant in the run game like a DeMarcus Lawrence is, and he's still going to be productive as a pass rusher. He's a 3-down player, and I think that's why Ryan Poles went this route instead of a Chase Young perhaps. One, he doesn't have the injury history as a Chase Young. He's very durable. And 2, you know at minimum what he is, which is an elite run stopper and a good pass rusher. And this year he's having one of his best pass rushing productive seasons ever. From a sack standpoint, he's having his best year ever in terms of on-pace sacks. So I'm excited to get him in here. It's going to be an adjustment, obviously playing in a new scheme next to different defensive linemen, but he's played in both 3-4 and 4-3 already in his career. He should be a plug-and-play type of player here, and that's why I think he's going to get a lot of money. So I'm going to set the over-under at 23.5, which was essentially right below Rashawn Gary. What do you guys think? What do you think he'll get? $23.5 million per year. Type M for more. Type L for less. I think he gets more. I think he's getting at least 24. He's going to match that Rashawn Gary deal, I would think, if not top it. So I'm typing M for more. What say you down in the comments? All right, a couple more from Brad Spielberger with the added leverage of Chicago moving what figures to be a top 40 draft pick for his services. Here's where we see a deal ending up. And the point of this last quote I wanted to mention is that the Bears don't have crazy leverage. Sure, they have the franchise tag, which is expected to be less than $21 million per year, but are you going to piss off a player you just traded for? Like, are you going to play that game if you're Ryan Poles? I don't think so. I think you're going to get him locked up to a long-term contract extension and go from there. So I expect him to pay up. I don't think you trade a second-round pick and try to get some kind of discount on Montez Sweat. Keep the guy happy, get him ingrained into this locker room, and you go from there. That's how I expect the Bears to handle this situation. All right, what do you guys think is the better deal, better contract that Brad Spielberger PFF cooked up? You think it's Jaylon Johnson, type 1, for 5-year, $95 million with $47.5 guaranteed? Or do you think it's the Montez Sweat projection, 4 for 100 with $70 million guaranteed? What say you? Similar in total money, one less year for Sweat, obviously, more guaranteed for Sweat as well. But to me, pass rusher is a little bit more important than corner, especially watching the Bears past few years. But we'll say it makes what Jaylon Johnson's doing, especially this year, that much more impressive that he's covering like this with no pass rush. 1 for Jaylon Johnson, 2 for Montez Sweat. What do you guys think is the better deal? And again, I want them both paid. I want them both here. You need them both here. You got to have blue chip players on this on your team to win. Both these guys can be just that. So get it done, Ryan Poles. Jaylon Johnson, Montez Sweat, both need to be here long term. All right. Shane says 1 for Jaylon. So does Aaron. Free to play. Josh is saying 2. Ryan says 2. Immortal says 2. Donald says 1. Ron says 2. Rolly, which contract did you think make more sense when looking at this?
It's Sweat to me, and I know you're giving him more guaranteed money, more per year, but
I'm fine with that Sweat deal. I think I said it when they trade for him. I was like, you're probably going to give him 4 for 100.
The thing is, though, is like you see the way teams are built, and you win from the trenches. So adding someone who can be that dual threat as a good pass rusher alongside the elite play in the running game.
Yeah.
I think you just and plus you just gave a second-round pick for him.
Yeah.
So
can't mess around.
You can't. You're right. You can't mess around. You have to pay him. I actually liked what you just said. Is like the Bears don't have leverage. They don't, because Montez Sweat knows that the Bears need him with how bad their pass rush is, and he also knows. Well, you just said a second-round pick for me, so why wouldn't you want to pay him?
I mean, you could say, well, the franchise tag is their leverage. Like, I guess, but like you're gonna piss off a guy you just brought in here. Like, I just don't think operating that way is smart. So, and to be frank, you need that tag for Jaylon Johnson. Since he's already a little bit frustrated. As much as that sucks for him, like you got to get at least one of these guys extended because you need the tag for the other.
You would hope that by this time next year, both these guys are on the roster with brand new extensions. But
nice.
It wouldn't surprise me if one gets tagged either way. But one of them does have to get extended so you can use the tag on the other.
Yeah. There's no way. I shouldn't say no way, but I'd give it less than 3% that you enter day one of free agency and neither of these guys have signed an extension. Like I just can't imagine that taking place.
Now, something that we haven't really talked about, Harry, and it's intriguing, is like, do you think this trade for Montez Sweat kind of signifies that no matter what happens with the coaching staff, that Poles is going to be back next year?
I do get that feeling, and I've had that feeling. I think he's safe. The bigger question is if Matt Eberflus can put together an extended stretch against some of the good teams they're going to, like, not just like bad teams, with a guy like Montez Sweat having an impact, does that give him a chance to say, like, hey, listen, you finally got me a dude, and look at what we're doing defensively?
Well,
I don't know. I don't think you make that move to, like, be like, all right, coach, last chance to prove something, but
it's the way I looked at it is like whoever makes those decisions on, I don't know. I know there's talks about Warren, McCaskey. I don't know who makes the decisions on Poles' job security, but I'd imagine that person, whoever it is, if they had doubts about Ryan Poles coming back next year,
you don't let him ship out a second.
They would have told him, hey, man, do not buy no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. Like, now, that doesn't mean something couldn't happen over the next couple months where you're just like, all right, this is so bad as a whole, I'm just blowing it up. But I think at this point in time, let's just say Kevin Warren's the decision maker. I think he looks at this like, all right, we're going to give Ryan at least this offseason and next year. I'm going to give him an opportunity to draft a quarterback. Matt Eberflus, jury is still out. He's got to show me something.
That guy's got to go.
Yeah, if it's me, I probably would have fired Flus already, if I'm being honest. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Sealand, let's assume we were extending Fields. How would that affect extending Sweat, Johnson, and others? Well, I think even if Justin Fields Rolly played 8 awesome games in this season, there's no way they would extend him. Now, they might roll into next year with him.
Yeah.
But you still have 2 years of team control in that situation. You have next year, and then if you did ball out the rest of the year, I think you'd exercise the 5th-year option. So I don't think you have to worry about that, C-Land. But even if you did, you could still pay Sweat and Jaylon Johnson. You have over $100 million in cap. Like, I guess it went down a few $1 million with the Andrew Billings deal. But I will say this: doing the Billings deal now, you can roll some of that money into this year. That way, the 2 years of the extension are actually a little bit lower than 4 and change or whatever the cap hits would be. So That's why I do actually like getting that deal done now. No Palencia, not Bears related, but rooting for Will Levis tonight.
Will Levis, Hive, stand up.
Yeah, listen, Rolly's on the Will Levis train.
Levis, Hive, stand up.
I'll tell you what.
Stand up.
If they roll into Pittsburgh and win, Steelers got to fire Canada, man. He's horrible.
I love how we say if the Titans roll in and win tonight, the OC has to go. What if it's
if that happens,
what if it's a 45-42 win?
If the Steelers score 42 points tonight, I'll give you $50.
Okay.
If
Well,
they
it looks like I don't have to put anything up, so I'll take that. I'll take it.
If they don't, you owe me $1.
No.
Sam Lakhtara, what does a trade package look like to acquire Rolly? Multiple
high.
first plus potential day 2 pick or picks. Hashtag Team Rolly. Listen,
It's looking a lot like that.
if Rolly is getting shipped off of Bears now, I mean, I'm looking for I'm looking for an AJ Brown type of package at least, if not more.
I would have said first overall pick type of package personally.
Yeah,
but
like the Poles Panthers trade last year. I'm getting DJ Moore in return.
There's a person dedicated.
Who's the DJ Moore of this office?
Young wide receiver, not utilized.
Who's underutilized here and needs more opportunities? Be careful with your answer. You don't know the answer either.
I don't know either because everyone has their own.
Everybody's got their role.
Everyone's hooked up to a channel, so it's not like there's someone just floating out there that's looking for a new one to latch onto.
It's the guy that interviewed last week. I don't know. Yeah, Lochte, he's worth a lot. That's why he's our guy. Let's go.
Well, there's a whole guy dedicated trading me for random stuff in the chat.
Yeah, well, you know.
It actually reminds me of this guy on the Giants channel when I was the Giants producer before I officially came over here. There's this guy whose name is just Mitch Hates Rolling. So.
Is that Mitchell Wren's burner?
Maybe. Hope not.
Mailbag time. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get those questions in. Let's go. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get your questions on the show. And we'll dive in here very, very shortly.
G Willie. Hashtag Bears. Rolly sucks. I got on a lot of people's nerves.
I'll be honest. Rolly was a little, not hurt, but like perturbed about y'all getting after him on Tuesday.
Tuesday afternoon.
Rolly's our guy.
History, the day that Rolly and Bears Now officially broke up.
No, Lochte's got your back forever. Lochte's got your back.
3 chili dogs and a beer bong. I could go for that right now.
3 chilies right now? You could smoke that
3
right
chili
now?
Dogs.
Wow.
Would Poles extend to Rolly? Probably not because I'm too expensive for him.
Yeah, and he doesn't pay, so.
Too expensive for him.
Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Load them up. We got enough questions?
No, we actually do not as of right now.
Guys, all I want to do is do a mailbag, and y'all just aren't interested. We don't have to do a mailbag. There's a couple. What is up with Fields and why the big secret? I have theories.
He has to be back against Carolina.
If not, they should have just IR'd him.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's a short week, so I don't think he's going to be.
Nah.
He's going to go from not practicing in 3 weeks to a week where you don't practice at all before Thursday Night Football playing?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so.
Why not?
If you ask me right now if Fields plays next week, I'd say no.
Then the organization stinks.
By the way, did you know this rule that you can only designate 8 players to return from short-term IR in a single season? Only 8. And they've already used 5 of those. And it used to only be 2, but in the COVID year they extended it.
I'm not going to say I knew that, but I will say that I'm pretty sure I have heard of that before.
So maybe that's why they didn't do it. They're like, maybe he'll miss less than 4 games. We don't want to.
The reason why I think I might have known that because I think it happened with the Patriots last year where they could have put someone on short-term IR and probably should have, but they just put them on season-ending IR with like 6-7 weeks to go.
Yeah. All right, hashtag Bears Super Chat. I think there's enough to at least get this puppy started. And if you super chat, you can skip the line. So let's get it popping here on Chicago Bears now. Trade Roley for a Kevin White jersey.
Kevin White, West
Kevin
Virginia
White,
legend.
the GOAT.
West Virginia.
Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.
West Virginia.
Hey, West Virginia basketball. Tougher than a weekend at your in-laws. Although, I think that's dead with what's his name
With
not their
Huggy
coach
out?
anymore.
You know
Karen,
what?
no way
That's
that-
going to be on the mailbag.
No way that gets tweeted. What, Zachary?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that in
Kind of
there.
like that.
We'll kick things off with Zachary's super
We're going to
chat.
actually have a good friend kick us off.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. Here we go. It's mailbag time. Kicking off today's Chicago Bears mailbag is our good pal F. Marsh saying, how many games does Matt Eberflus have to win to keep his job? Well, Flus is currently 2-6 with, 9 games left this year. So let's look at the remaining schedule and just dive into this here. I mean, it's not Murderer's Row, for being honest. At the Saints, I picked the Saints to win, but that's winnable. Panthers at home, at Detroit, it's probably your hardest game left. At the Vikings, no Kirk Cousins, though. Then you got your bye week. Lions at home, out of a bye week. Won't be easy, but you got the extra time. At the Browns, we'll see what Deshaun Watson's status is by then. Cardinals at home, Falcons at home, at Packers. It's not like this schedule is loaded. So to me, with 9 games left, you've won 2 of them. You got to get to 7 wins, in my opinion. Like, if you can't go 5-4 down the stretch, which, by the way, I would not expect Matt Eberflus to do that, because you know what that means? That means at some point you win at least 2 games in a row once, which he has failed to do a single time as this team's head coach. But what I would say is, okay, he's 5-20 so far. If he goes 5-4 over the next 9, I still probably wouldn't want to keep him as head coach. But I think if you're Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, whoever's evaluating this stuff, you would say, well, that is tangible progress from a win-loss standpoint. So I think he's got to get to 7. Maybe it's less in the Bears' eyes. I don't know. I think that's a low bar if it's less than 7. But we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. What do you guys think? Fill in the blank. Matt Eberflus needs blank wins to return next year. 7? 6? I mean, 6 would be double the win total from last year, but that's still not a high standard, especially considering how a lot of these games have played out. What say you? I think it's got to be at least 7. Let us know in the comments section below. From Zachary Francois, worst ran team, Bulls, Bears, or White Sox? I might go White Sox 1. 2A, 2B right now, Bears and Bulls. Like, look, as much as the Bears frustrate me and even Ryan Poles frustrates me, I do at least appreciate how he's cleaned up the cap situation. Now, you can't go full cheap on people. Like, you do have to pay at some point. The Bulls, I mean, I did not understand bringing back Vucevic. I don't think that roster is constructed well. So it's 2A, 2B between the Bears. The Bulls are at right now where the Bears were at the end of the Pace era, where like they've got all these expensive contracts. There's decent individual talent, but not nearly enough to be a true contender. That's kind of where the Bulls are at this point in time. So would you rather be that, or would you rather be the Bears, where you don't feel close, but you got a lot of money and high draft capital to perhaps get close in somewhat quick manner? Like, the Bulls have none of that. Like, they have no cap flexibility. They have no high draft picks. So it's pick your poison there. No Palencia, back to Bears related. Any updates on a new stadium? I haven't heard anything in a while, man, which I don't know what to make of that. I think maybe part of the reason we haven't heard anything in a while is, well, Kevin Warren, I think, is having to evaluate his GM and coaching staff probably a little more than he thought he would when he first took this job. He probably thought, okay, well, these guys are in this second year. I can focus solely on the stadium and behind-the-scenes things. And then he saw him get blown out by Green Bay, lose to Tampa, blown out by Kansas City, blow a 28-7 lead to Denver to start 0-4. He's like, these guys may not be the right leaders in play, so I may have to dive deeper into this. I don't know if that's true or not, if that's why we haven't heard anything recently, but Is it one of those that no news is good news? Maybe something's happening behind the scenes? I'm not sure. I don't know what to believe is the most likely scenario at this point, whether it's Arlington Heights, Chicago, different suburb, etc. From Ben Seaton, if they extend Jaylon Johnson and Montez Sweat, how much money would the Bears have in free agency since they have a lot of holes on the team? It all depends on contract structure. Let's say those two guys count against, I'll just throw a number, $35 million cap hit next year, because if you structure it, you could definitely get it down to that. You could do even less, but let's just say 35. Let's say what Andrew Billings just did. How about this? With Billings and those two, $40 million against your projected cap. Well, you were expected to have roughly $110 million in cap space, so you still have $70 million. You can cut Cody Whitehair, which gets you over $10 million extra. You can cut Eddie Jackson, which gets you like another $12 million. So you can still have 70, 80, 90 million potentially in cap space even after paying these guys. So that's why, to me, it's a no-brainer to get both these deals done. And look, they might even front-load those deals a little bit just because you have so much cap space, but at minimum, Ben, you're still looking at $50+ million in cap space, and you can sign a lot of impactful players with that type of money. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. The best daily fantasy sports app has arrived, and it is Prize Picks. And what I like about Prize Picks, it's daily fantasy made easy. Now with basketball season here, I'm placing entries just about every single night, and all I do and all you guys have to do is pick anywhere from 2 to 6 players on any given entry. College football, NHL, NBA, NFL, doesn't matter. And then you just project if they're going to go for more or less than their stat projections from Prize Picks. For example, I got DJ Moore, less than 56.5 receiving yards this week. I got Cole Kmet, more than 34.5 receiving yards. I also took the more on Alvin Kamara, 36.5 receiving yards. 10 to win 50 there. And guys, some big names out there have partnered up with Prize Picks. Join rapper Meek Mill, comedian Andrew Schultz, and several others Prize Picks players and place your entries today. Doesn't matter the sport, doesn't matter the time. It takes less than a minute to make your entry. So get signed up today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Okay. A real shake. Is there a rookie offensive line ranking higher than Darnell Wright this season? I'm starting to wish we drafted Carter. Is there a rookie ranking? All I know this is Darnell Wright's been really good. Now, you could make a strong argument that they should have drafted Jalen Carter, but let's not confuse that with Darnell Wright being a bad pick. Like, he's actually played really well. If I'm going to be critical of a lot of what Ryan Poles has done, I think that was a good pick. Now, look, if Jalen Carter becomes a Hall of Famer and Darnell Wright's just a good player, yeah, I mean, you could have done better there, obviously. But I understood why they did it at the time. I still, to an extent, looking back, would I have drafted Jalen Carter? Probably. But I'm not going to nag on Darnell Wright because, I mean, the guy has shown a lot of potential and talent. He's been pretty damn good for you. Anthony Gonzalez, if we draft Marvin Harrison Jr. And Olu Fashanu or Alt, do we aim for a high-value free agent edge rusher? Potentially. I mean, obviously you got to get Montez Sweat done first, but a lot of edges are projected to hit the open market. Daniil Hunter, I mean, could you get him in here? Now, he's going to be 30, so I think if you get Sweat on a 4 or 5 year deal, you'd probably do like a 2 or 3 year deal for a guy like Daniil Hunter. Could you team back up Chase Young in Chicago with Montez Sweat on a big but not massive type of contract, depending on how he plays with San Francisco? Perhaps. There's a few other edges expected to hit the open market, but yeah, I mean, I think that trading for Montez Sweat was probably a signal from Ryan Poles that we don't love the edge class at the top of this draft, so let's lock one in now, and maybe we'll poach another one in free agency. And I'm not ruling out Yannick Ngakoue returning. I want to see how he plays the rest of this season with Montez Sweat. If he looks better than he has, I'd bring him back on another 1 or 2 year deal. Obviously, it's been somewhat underwhelming up to this point, but I think he could play better now that he's got a more than adequate player on the opposite side. Ron Winarski, do you think Fields will be the Bears quarterback next season? I don't, and I'm basing that on what I think the Bears are going to do. If the Bears get a top 2 pick, which there's a good chance they will, I feel very confident that they will draft a quarterback again, that's just what I think they will do. I'm not saying it's right, it's fair, it's whatever. I've had this theory for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now, that I think the Bears, for the most part, have moved on from Fields. I think there are scenarios where he's back and he's the starter. Scenario A, when he's healthy, he comes back, balls out, plays at the best football of his career. Scenario B, you don't get a top 2 pick, you don't love the rest of the draft class, you build up the roster for another season, run it back with Fields and see what happens. But I do think if they get a top 2 pick, that Ryan Poles will pick his guy. Who do you guys got on Sunday? Type CHI for the Bears or NO for the New Orleans Saints. I picked the Saints in a tight one, 24-20. Big opportunity for Matt Eberflus. Things are heating up again around him, at least publicly. I know Ryan Poles gave him a vote of confidence, but CHI for the Bears, NO for the Saints. Who you got winning this one? Subscribe to the channel. Bears videos all year long, not just during the season, during the offseason as well. We're publishing 2+ videos per day here on this channel. So join the movement, join the family. Chicago Bears coverage here on Bears Now by Chat Sports is 100% free. So subscribe today. We greatly appreciate it. All right, excuse me. Stamp collector. Do you think Chicago would trade up for Caleb Williams if we don't get the number 1 pick? I don't know. I don't know what Ryan Poles thinks of Drake Maye and Caleb Williams. Who does he like better? I will say this, and producer Rolly can chime in here.
Drake Maye better.
Dane Brugler has elevated Drake Maye above Caleb Williams in his latest big board. Now, I think that's going to be fluid from now until the draft, but coming into the season, most draft evaluators said it was a lock for Caleb Williams to be the number 1 pick. Brugler did not say that, and he has gone as far as having Maye ahead of him now. So it's interesting. If I get the 2nd pick and I'm Ryan Poles, I'm not trading up to 1 unless I think the other QB option is just leaps and bounds better. You still have so many needs. If it's close at all, just stay at 2, pick Maye or Williams, whoever is there at 2, and then go from there. Arthur Smith, do you think Mooney gets extended or is he the odd man out? I think it depends. I mean, how does he play the rest of the year? What is the price tag? Do you sneakily not want him to put up big numbers? That way you can get him at like a cheapish deal. I don't think you want that. I mean, you obviously want him to help you now, but I think him returning is still on the table. I love him as a number 3 receiver, working the slot. Like, he can take the top off. He can make people miss. He can do jet sweeps. He can do all that stuff. I do think that you want to upgrade at wide receiver too. Whether it's Marvin Harrison Jr. next to DJ Moore, Malik Neighbors out of LSU, Keon Coleman out of Florida State. Like, getting one of those dudes is definitely appealing. There's even guys later in the first, early second round that you could find, but I don't know, Arthur. I think a lot of that will depend on price, that's for sure. Follow me on Instagram and on Twitter to ask more questions. We can't get to them all in these videos, but we try to hit as many as possible. At HGram NFL, if you have more Bears, NFL questions, life questions, I'm an open book. At HGram NFL on both social media platforms. That is where you can find me. Hit that follow button and slide into the DMs. They are always open if you want to talk ball. All right, who you guys got? Oh, man. Got a little runny here all of a sudden. Is that paper towel rack in here? Let's see it. Just toss it to me real quick. Hands. Ooh. Excuse me for a second.
Speaking of hands, we were obviously late live last night, and I needed a new beer, and I just said hands. Trace grabs a beer.
Did he just launch one?
He sent it. And listen, I got good hands. I got confidence in my ability. I got soft hands. I could go up, high point the ball. I can make catches. This came in like a rocket.
And was it torpedoing too?
Yeah. And
that's classic Trace.
And it was just an all-time catch from your guy, because I was expecting a nice light little toss, catch it nice and easy, just look good for the camera.
The classic beer toss, you go underhand floater.
Yeah, he chucks it.
He's torpedoing it.
And it just came in like a 95-mile-per-hour fastball from Marcus Stroman. and I just snagged it, and I just was like, Trace, you realize if you weren't dealing with the Hands King himself, we would have a real issue.
You did catch it?
Oh, I caught it, of course.
Any bobble, or was it clean?
It was clean.
Woo.
It was pretty clean. But like, if I don't catch that, that's going right through my hands into the wall, maybe exploding, but at least making a mark in the wall. It would have been a disaster.
How many, was that when y'all were all...
Yeah, that was late. It was late.
How many drinks did you guys take down once it got rowdy last night? Between the three of y'all. 20 drinks total between the three of y'all, more or less?
Yeah, a lot of shots.
Yeah.
A lot of shots. I was on my fireball grind yesterday,
boy.
which was not good.
That's a tough scene for you. That's not your
Yeah,
favorite.
because I don't like to do fireball. I don't like the sugar, but it's what Mitch had for me. And so I did fireball, probably about 4 beer bongs. I did a boot. Mitch did a lot of bongs.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, let's get into this last segment. I got to leave early today, so we're going to knock this out, sign off. Let's keep it rolling here. One more segment to go as I got my newest mock draft, 4.0, baby, post-trade deadline edition. So let's get it here on Chicago.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
I don't know what's in that bottom corner. We'll come in like this.
All right, here we go. Bears Now by Chat Sports rolls along for one more segment.
Here we go.
Today's Bears mock draft is sponsored by Manscaped. They have launched the all-new and improved Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. We're going to tell you all about that later on in the show. Get going with Manscaped, manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20 for the best, promo code BEARS20 for the best men's grooming products available for 20% off. All right, I'm Harrison Graham, Bears mock draft 4.0. I'm going to try and keep track of every mock draft I do this year. This is the fourth one. Yeah, fourth one by week 9. It's a tough look for the Bears, but that's where we're at. And this one, of course, is a post-NFL trade deadline mock. And I think it's relevant because, obviously, the Bears did trade their second-round pick for Montez Sweat. Don't have that pick. Also add an edge. So, you don't necessarily have to go edge super early in this draft. Doesn't mean you can't. You could still use some defensive line help. But before we get into this mock, because this is becoming more of a debate in NFL draft circles, pick a quarterback. You get the number 1 pick, which the Bears don't have right now. They have 2 and 3. You get the number 1 pick. Who you taking? Type CW for Caleb Williams, DM for Drake Maye. This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so I'm just curious who you guys would draft at the top of this draft. CW for Caleb Williams, DM for Drake Maye, and this is in a scenario where you're drafting a quarterback, obviously. Let us know who you guys would rather have. And I'm seeing some JF comments. I'm saying if you draft a quarterback, well, I've been on record. If the Bears get a top 2 pick, I do believe they will draft a quarterback. And in this mock draft simulator with Pro Football Focus, Caleb Williams went number 1 overall. So I got Drake Maye with the number 2 overall pick, the quarterback out of North Carolina. Producer Rowley is popping champagne as he produces this video. You take a look at the stat comparisons between these two guys this year. You're not going to find a ton of differences. And quite frankly, I think the accuracy is probably more even than it looks. North Carolina, especially the last 2 weeks, I think you're talking about 10-plus drops in their 2 losses against Virginia and Georgia Tech. Yardage is pretty similar. Caleb Williams has more volume on touchdowns there, obviously, but Drake Maye has actually been the more opportunistic runner this year. And I think what's interesting is Dane Brugler, who, look, there's a lot of great NFL draft analysts out there, and I'm not saying Brugler is leaps and bounds better than everybody else. I really like his stuff, though. I like his analysis. I think it's noteworthy that he has had Drake Maye leapfrog Caleb Williams on his latest big board. Like, that feels meaningful to me. He's pretty tapped in. So it feels neck and neck, and this is going to be a discussion between now and April's draft. So obviously the Bears could be big players in the quarterback draft rankings this year. So I don't mind a scenario where I get Drake Maye if I am Chicago. So I get him number 2 overall. Trade alert. I'm going to trade the number 3 pick. Yes, I could go Marvin Harrison Jr. here, absolutely, and that would be fine. But I really got a nice offer here from the New England Patriots. They move up from 5 to 3. So I get 5. I also get their 3rd round pick, 69 overall. Very nice, I might say. And their 1st round pick next year, just to drop 2 spots. They get the 3rd pick. They also get back a 4th round pick, that pick from the Eagles that you got when you traded down 1 spot when you drafted Darnell Wright a year ago. So a lot of moving parts here. Moving down a couple of spots, adding a 3rd and a future 1st while shipping out a 4th as well. I get Fashanu, the offensive tackle out of Penn State, and I was kind of playing math here. I'm like, okay, if I move from 3 to 5, yeah, I'm probably losing Marvin Harrison here. But Olu, pretty good chance he's there because Brock Bowers could go 4th. Worst case, I could go Joe Alt, or I could even trade down again. I think Olu with the number 5 overall pick is good value, and obviously with Braxton Jones, who's been on IR for 5 weeks now with that neck issue, we'll see if he plays this week and starts. You still have questions at left tackle. If you're Braxton Jones, you got to be chomping at the bit to get back onto the playing field and show what you can be, because if there's any doubt in Ryan Poles' mind that he can be the long-term answer at left tackle, he's going to heavily consider getting one in this draft because there's 2 really good ones in the top 10 with Fashanu and Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. So I want to see Braxton Jones get back on the field, see what he can do. If you do draft a left tackle, good news is Braxton can be an excellent swing tackle in my opinion. But look, in a perfect world, Braxton Jones is your guy, and you go in a different direction. But at the same time, if you think Fashanu is a 10-year starting left tackle, that's going to be tough to pass on if you're Ryan Poles. Oh, man, this is going to catch people's attention. So, again, the Bears do not have a 2nd-round pick after the Montez Sweat trade. And, again, when I do these mocks, it's a combination of what I would do, but also where I think the Bears are as a team. And if you're drafting Drake Maye, then you're moving on from Justin Fields. That's just logic. I'm not saying it's going to play out that way. I'm not even saying I want it to play out that way. But if I'm taking Drake Maye or Caleb Williams, then I'm trying to get something for Justin Fields. I don't need to keep him as a backup. That just doesn't make sense for him or for the team or for the quarterback you're drafting. Why create that controversy? So if I can get a 2nd and a 4th from Atlanta, because I don't think you're getting a 1st based on what we know right now, that's something I'm considering. And disclaimer, I'm rooting for Justin Fields. You guys know me. To a fault at times, I will gladly admit I have believed in this guy to be the franchise QB in Chicago, and I think he has been screwed in a lot of ways. I don't think the timeline has added up where the prior regime drafted him, then they got fired, new coaching staff doesn't fit him, they rebuild the roster. I don't think it's been fair. But sometimes life isn't fair, and again, if Ryan Poles gets a top 2 pick, he's almost certainly going to draft a quarterback. So I just want to get that disclaimer out there. And that's my theory. I think the Bears have likely moved on. I've thought this for a little while. I don't know the severity of the thumb injury, but it doesn't seem like there's any urgency to get him back onto the field, even though Tyson Bagent showed his limitations in this last game. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but I just get the feeling that the Bears have almost completely made the decision, with the one drawback being, well, if we don't get a top 2 pick, then maybe we won't draft a quarterback. But there's a good chance they're going to get a top 2 pick. So I want to ask you guys, will the Bears trade Justin Fields this offseason? Type T for trade, or if you think they'll keep him, type K for keep. Get your votes in the comment section. If you get a top 2 pick, I'd say there's a great chance they're trading Justin Fields. So what say you? So with the number 51 overall selection, I'm going to add a receiver since I didn't get Marvin Harrison in the 1st round. Jaylon Polk, the wide receiver out of Washington. I don't know if y'all have watched the Huskies play this year, but they've got 3 really good receivers, and Polk is one of them. He's been a big play machine for Michael Penix Jr. this year. 46 catches, 836 yards for the Huskies, 7 touchdowns, averaging over 18 yards per catch. He's been terrific, and I think he's, right in that top 50 range for where he could go in this NFL draft. Is he a plug-and-play number 2 receiver from day one? I think he's got that talent and potential. It's obviously asking a lot out of a rookie, but 6'2", 205, he's got good size. He can stretch the field. I do think you need to draft a receiver early. Even if you bring back Darnell Mooney, I think you need to bring one in here. Obviously, we all want Marvin Harrison, right? I think he's the best player in this draft. But I thought the trade proposal from New England was too good to pass up, which is why I took it in this draft. So you get one on day 2 here after trading Justin Fields for a second and a fourth to Atlanta, and that's the way that goes. Again, for the millionth time, I'm rooting for Justin Fields, but if you're drafting a quarterback, there's really not a place for him on this team. Today's show sponsored by Manscaped. Guys, I just can't tell you how impressed I am with what Manscaped continues to do. They just upgrade. They don't rest on their laurels, which is what I hope the Bears are doing as a franchise. You're always looking to improve, and they have improved the lawnmower product year after year. It is now the 5.0 Ultra, and listen, every man knows how scary it can be when going for a close shave below the belt. That's why I trust Manscaped. That's why I trust the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. This product also has 2 LED lights, and guess what? It's always been water resistant, the lawnmower. Now it is waterproof. You can fire away in the bath and the shower with no concerns whatsoever. The wireless charging system is still in place. That's a feature that has not gone away. Use promo code BEARS20 at manscaped.com to get the all-new and improved Lawnmower 5.0. I had my birthday recently. I pulled this bad boy out. You know what happens after that. Manscaped.com, promo code BEARS20. Get 20% off the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra and all of their men's grooming products. Next up, round 3, pick 67. You guessed it, Sedrick Van Pran. Listen, I am going to continue to draft this guy if he is available in these mock drafts. Like, I will leave no stone unturned if Sedrick Van Pran is available, especially in round 3. I'd be cool taking him in the second round, but he's just consistent. He's athletic. PFF's grading him very highly. No sacks allowed this year. He's a good pass protector. He's good in the run game. He can get on the move. You need stability at that position, man. I can't do the Lucas Patrick, Cody Whitehair thing anymore. I'm just done with it. You have not had stability at the center position in years. I mean, it's embarrassing, quite frankly, how bad the center play has been in Chicago. And I'm not saying Sedrick Van Pran is a sure thing. It would come in and be a top 10 center right away. What I am saying is he's the best center in this draft. He fits the athletic profile of what this team likes to do offensively, so there's really no downside to taking him. You got to figure something out at center. Don't miss out. If you want more Bears draft coverage, prove it to us. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. We can track how many new subscribers we get on each video, so if we get a bunch of new ones, that means we know you're enjoying the coverage. So subscribe today. It's 100% free. Let's go to the defensive line here. Remember, made that trade with the Patriots, so get an extra third-round pick here. Jack Sawyer, the edge out of Ohio State. He's never quite reached his potential, in my opinion. The stats aren't overwhelming, but he's a leader on that Buckeyes defense. He fits the mold of a good edge rusher in the NFL, 6'4", about 260. He's got the size. He's got the play style. He's a gritty player for the Buckeyes. I like his leadership skills, so I'm definitely not as high on him as I am JT Tuimoloau for Ohio State, but I think in the third round, the value is certainly there. We'll go a little rapid fire here on these 4th and 5th round picks. Just a 5-round mock today. Bo Braid, the safety out of Maryland, kind of a hybrid. He can play free or strong safety, has good enough coverage skills. I think he comes in right away, can be a number 3 safety, special teamer, and check in certain nickel packages. So get him there. There's some questions with Eddie Jackson moving forward. I have concerns about Jaquan Brisker with his concussion history, so I think adding a safety is going to make sense in this draft. Tyler Davis, the defensive tackle out of Clemson, I think I've taken him a couple of times now. I think you got to beef up that interior. Obviously, the Bears extended Andrew Billings, so he's going to be back. Where are Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens at in this offseason? Can they show they can take that next step? We'll see, but I think drafting a guy like Tyler Davis early day 3 could make sense. And then Cade Stover, the tight end out of Ohio State, I think I've snagged him a couple of times too. Having a really nice year. Been a security blanket for Kyle McCord, the Ohio State quarterback. Has over 400 yards and has been a red zone threat as well. I think, the tight end position's an underrated one of what you need because, sure, you extended Cole Kmet. He's going to be here for a while, but Robert Tonyan and Mercedes Lewis both on 1-year deals. Chances are at least one of those guys are gone, if not both. So drafting a tight end could make some sense. All right, guys, there you have it. Grade this Bears mock draft. Remember, I got that future first as well. in that trade down, A, B, C, D, or F. We'll continue to plug out draft videos if you guys want them, so be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're having a lot of fun doing these mocks. If you guys are tired of them, let us know in the chat. Maybe we'll do a live mock draft soon. The thought was doing that during the bye week. Maybe we do it during the mini bye week after the Carolina game here in a week or so. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for all of our Bears content. All right, A, B, C, D, or F. Get some quick shout-outs, and then Rolly and I got to go. Aaron says F. Shane says C. Ron says D. Mr. Perry says F. Jailbreak says C. I don't think they're happy with the quarterback stuff, Rolly. But look, take the emotion.
Listen.
Look, take the emotion out of it. And I don't know how many times I have to say it. I like Justin Fields. I think he's a talented player. I think he'll work. He could work somewhere else, and not completely shutting the door here. But what I am saying is we have to use our heads a little bit. If Ryan Poles gets a top 2 draft pick, he's going to draft a quarterback. Like, he just is. Unless Justin Fields plays out of his mind the rest of the year, he's going to draft a quarterback. Why? Because he'll be entering year 3 as a GM. This team hasn't won a lot of football games. If they're bad again next year, he could be fired. So this could be his one chance to get a quarterback. He passed on it last year. I don't think he'll do it this year. Like, just like, take what you want out of it for a second. That's what I do in a lot of these mocks. Like, I look at it and like, what do the Bears need? What they're likely going to do? If they're picking at 4, I'm not taking a quarterback. But if it's 1 or 2, they're going to draft one. It's MHJ, why you getting that? Fair enough. I took Marvin in the last one, so I'm trying to mix it up. I mean, if you guys want me to do the same mock draft every week, I can do that. But I'm trying to mix it up. I made it clear. Marvin Harrison's the best player in this draft. Like, I'm trying to get him if I'm the Bears, but thought it was a good trade offer from New England. So, okay, we got to get out of here. Appreciate you guys. We will be live on Sunday, probably 10:45 again for with kickoff at noon. So stay tuned for that. Rolly and I got to go. Bear down, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at HGramNFL. We'll see you guys soon.